Great. We got 14 people in here already. Let's see.
Right.
Awesome. How's it going, man?
It's going well. Beautiful day in New York City. Yeah, looking at about high 60s. Can always appreciate that. What's up, y'all? How you
What's up?
doing?
Yeah, doing good. We got the same weather, some sun, no clouds, so it's nice. It's nice.
Nice.
Um, yeah. So I think we got a few people in here. Maybe we'll just wait, give it some more time. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to have this conversation. It's going to be recorded, so we'll share it with everyone else who couldn't make it. But yeah, I think you have some gems for us. I think we're going to get to really explain the network for the first time to
Cool,
people.
cool. Cool, cool. Maybe I got some gems. You got all the gems.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm not sure who's in the chat, but how many of you have in the chat read the black paper already, and sort of how familiar is everyone with the network so far? If you have any questions, you can just pose them, and we'll do a few questions before we get the conversation started. How many of you guys, anyone from the Telegram in here? Okay, cool. Well, if there's any questions, just post them. We'll answer it as we go. But I guess we'll just get started with kind of an introduction. I'll start. My name is RJ Ferguson. I'm the head of product designer at Vibranium, one of the co-founders. And we've been working on this project since 2000, really end of 2019. And it's been great seeing it grow, and excited to kind of finally start talking to everyone in the community. So my background, I graduated from Wharton Business School. I worked in the music industry for about 10 years probably as a producer, DJ, working with new artists, A&Ring projects. And throughout all that, it was impossible to ignore how much technology and new platforms and social media played into the growth of all these artists I was working with. And as time went on, I realized it was so much more about the platform than anything. So one of the first artists I worked with, we blew up because there was a platform called Hype Machine. And back then Twitter was new, and you were able to sort of get all this reach, and you didn't have to pay for all your followers. So that allowed us to grow. I've seen it happen with different platforms, TikTok, Vine, different artists who just were able to make it big because of that moment in time. But what happened over and over again is those platforms get big, the artist gets big, this, and then they start charging you for the reach that they let you get first. They get you hooked. And so that got me just thinking about alternative platforms, and I wanted to get into coding and web design because of that. So at the same time was when crypto was sort of taking off. The first big wave, like end of 2017. So I did a bunch of research, learning, taught myself a bunch about the whole system and how it works, and started building something with one of my college roommates, and that eventually turned into what the Vibranium Network is today. So really started with the goal of helping artists and helping people build a platform that wasn't going to flip on them at some point, and a way to promote artists who aren't, the natural self-promoters, because a lot of times that's what it comes down to, is who can really manipulate the social media network conversations. And that's not necessarily the same skill as making good music. So that was a huge motivator. But as we built it, it became this bigger thing. And yeah, I'll get further into that. But Mari, do you want to just kind of say a little bit about yourself?
Yo, man, how can I top that? What's up, y'all? My name is Mari. I'm born and raised Chicago, Illinois. I graduated from Williams College, a degree in psychology. And after I graduated, I worked in finance because I was just someone who was already who's just always excited about what finance could unlock. I didn't have it that great coming up, but we had enough to feed ourselves. It was mostly me, my mom. My pops was there every now and then, and but financial like wealth and stuff, that was never a concept, and so that drove me into wanting to know more about money, how it works. So yeah, I worked at the bank for a little bit, but the suit and tie wasn't too cut out for it. So I ended up quitting that job and pursuing music full time as an artist. So I started out making music for commercials and whatnot. So like similar to RJ, I was doing the whole music industry thing. Um, I went full time artistry, and then I would just work odd jobs here and there, like stacking up my money wherever I could to support my dreams and ambitions. And after a while, it started to get, really tiring doing the artist thing. It was really just me and my homie slash manager, Justin Harmon, just trying to figure out the music industry, figure out these platforms and how to utilize them to help me pop off as an artist. And so after doing that for about 3 years, we put a lot of money into it, a lot of time, and it put me, put us in a good bit of financial trouble actually. And I have to reassess and just look at the platforms that was enabling this behavior as an artist, this behavior around money, at least from my perspective, and in my case, an irresponsible behavior around money. And so I said, you know what? Let me actually think about the platform itself and how I can potentially be someone that helps to build these platforms, or help teach people how to build them. And so what ended up happening is I learned how to code. And it was kind of crazy for me to do it at that moment because I had just performed like South by Southwest. I had done A3C. I had done these festivals, and like things seemed to be going as an artist, like at least from the outside view. But, you know, internally, I'm like, I need to disrupt. I need to find a way to disrupt these systems so that I can be able to, for, to not only further myself, but like help others in realizing the importance of platforms. So fast forward, I learned how to code. And I also taught code for a little bit, and I'm now working as a software engineer. And I'm still doing my artist thing. And I guess Web3 and crypto NFTs, it just started to become this blend of the creative world and the technical world. I really saw how it started to intersect and just create this whole new realm of value. And so that's what brings me here today. Just speaking with RJ, and just seeing him build out him and his team build out Vibranium. It's just been something top of mind for me as far as being an artist, being a technically minded individual. How can we take these different things with the new technology, um, blockchain technology, Web3, NFTs, and make it pretty much open the platform for our folks, right? So, yeah.
Mari, we got a question. It says, Mari, thank you for your story. Can you talk about how having access to capital would have impacted your entrepreneurial endeavors?
That's a really great question. So I would have given you a very different answer, let's say 4 years ago, because I didn't know as much about the industry as I know now. 4 years ago, I would have said if I had access to capital, I'd be able to market the hell out of my music so that it can reach as many people as possible, so that I can then convert that into, yeah, ticket sales, merchandise sales, maybe publishing. But, these things are all hypotheticals. Now, with the knowledge that I have, what access to capital could do is and maybe build out a product or a service that aside from the music and have the music just be what it is, the music, something that's entertaining, something that, you know, does have this intrinsic communal value to it. But aside from that, you know, having access to capital to pour into things that can actually provide services to people. And not saying music isn't a service to people, because I do think it is, but I think there are some very tangible ways to impact people's lives.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, it really is incredible how like once you shift your view on what the art is, you can kind of, you know, I think a lot of people want their creativity to just pay for itself, and they don't realize that the people who kind of get those big deals, you know, that's a one-off payment, and unless you know how to turn that into a system for yourself with the music at the center of it, those are the people who could survive when they can build something around the music. And I think like you and I both, and a lot of us, we're in a unique situation because these labels, you know, they're not owned by people like us. They're owned by people who really are trying to get a lot of the value. You know, they're not giving you $1 million deal if they don't think they're going to make way more than that off you. So that people don't think about it that way. So we're at this point now where people like you are learning how to code, and we're all kind of teaching ourselves that we have to build something new out of what we already have. So I think, you know, we're right at this moment. I think a lot of people are at this moment where it's like, okay, this system is going to keep going and keep serving the people it's been serving. If we don't build something new, you know, then we're stuck. And that capital element is why people kind of end up selling out. And not only the capital, but the reach too. So it's like, well, I don't have a big following, so maybe I need someone to give me a loan so I could, you know, reach these people. But yeah, you know, it's all about reinvesting in yourself. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
definitely. And, you know, just spinning off of that and also starting to shift gears a little bit towards Vibranium and how it plans to exist in the space, and you know, what the gaps that it's going to fill. Speak a little bit about the pillars of Vibranium. You know, we have the commerce sector, we have the capital, and then we have the creative thing, this thing that's like blending all this together that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So with Vibranium, we have these three pillars. You've probably seen it on our website. Is V Commerce, V Fluence, and V Capital. So we're off the bat acknowledging that capital is a huge part of this. If you want independence and freedom as a creative or as an entrepreneur, you're going to need access to that capital. So V Capital is a shared pool of funds that's generated anytime someone buys a Vibranium token. So it's a one-to-one match. So someone's like buying 1,000 tokens are added to the pool. And that pool then is used and allocated based on the votes of the community for people who apply for loans or grants. So the idea is that V Capital can fund someone's V Commerce. So this is how they're all connected. So V Commerce, to say you're a vendor, you want to sell something, you accept Vibranium tokens, you accept VBX, and you have a easy cross-border payment system. You don't have to deal with conversions, and you can essentially stay in a network of people who are aligned around the same currency and the same value. So for instance, let's say, you know, you could buy something from a wholesale manufacturer in China, right? It's like $500, whatever. You get something that's kind of lower quality. At the end of the day, they're selling bulk orders. They don't really care about your one order. But with a V-commerce, what we want to do is we want to have a network of people who are artisans, basically. So they're handcrafted goods made with heart and intention that you could buy in exchange with people, and you're all in the same network. So you're all using the same currency. So if my friend's selling, you know, he's selling handmade wood carvings or something, some raw material, I want his business to do well because that's going to bring more people into the network and grow our economy as a whole. So if I'm an artist, I'm going to want someone who makes dope music video edits. I'm going to want someone who's a producer in the network. I'm going to want someone who sells the goods I want to accept the currency I have. And once you have that, if you have enough goods and enough people exchanging, that's the network. That's everything you need. And then the final pillar is Vfluence, which is reach, it's promotion, it's influence. And that is a way to motivate people to share content. So let's say you're trying to put out a song, you have a new mixtape or a new song you want to promote, or an NFT piece you're selling. What you would do is you would put a bounty on that link, a certain amount of Vibranium token, and everyone else in the network who shared that link would earn a percentage of that bounty based on how many hits the link got. So in that sense, everyone is motivated to share and grow each other's ideas and content. And what you have, once you have those three pillars together, you have a self-sufficient network. You don't need to go outside of it. And yeah, it's been really exciting watching it grow, because now we're looking outside of America. We're looking to a broader audience. So the value in that is massive. Yeah, so that's a quick rundown. But in an example of someone like yourself, I know you recently did an NFT launch, and with anything you're selling, it's all about who is motivated to promote it. You know, what type of reach do you have? Do you have a fan base? Do you have an audience? And I think what Vibranium builds in, once we're all in the same network, exchanging the same currency, is the motivation to promote and grow things together. Yeah, so that's a quick rundown, but I think we can go piece by piece. I want to put it back to you and say something like Vfluence, the ability to promote what you have. How could you see something like that fitting into your current, the current work you're doing?
Yeah, for sure. So as social media stands now, like with Twitter or Instagram or whatever, it's a huge just litter field. I don't want to call it litter field, but it's just so much going on. And just the idea of the openness is good. Don't get me wrong. But I think a lot of things also get lost, and it gets lost in the pile just because there's just so much content being put out, so many projects being put out, so many communities being built. And I think being able to have a platform and a currency that's dedicated to curating your audience, curating the currency around it, curating the commerce around your art, and just the promotion of it. I think that's something that's really really important, because without that, you're just kind of shooting into the wild and hoping something gets picked up. But if you don't have that swirl of like communal energy, and if it's not grounded in something that benefits everyone as a whole, and and feeling the connectedness in that, it's going to be really tough. And so that's why I see something like that's why I see Vfluence, and the idea of V Capital, V Commerce, pretty much acting as a as one movement to bridge a lot of those gaps, to connect a lot of people at the global scale. And so that's the main part. Now, the name of this is Vibranium. Let's talk about that name choice, because I think that's a very like loaded and important word, Vibranium. Why
Yeah.
Vibranium?
No, I mean, this is the thing that it hits everyone immediately. Once you give them a little taste of the idea, and then they hear the name, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. Because if anyone's seen Black Panther, I'm sure a lot of people here have. Vibranium was the source, yes, exactly, of the Wakanda, of what made Wakanda Wakanda. And in the early conversations we had about this whole idea, this network, we built the smart contract first before we knew what the whole thing was going to look like. And the idea was, we kept saying it in these conversations. We're like, well, this is like our Vibranium, and this is like our Wakanda, and we're not going to give away the Vibranium, like, what happened there. We're not going to let it kind of be drained out. And I think that it was one of those names that just kind of named itself. It was like, are we really going to do this? And it worked. I mean, and yeah, it's I see one question. Yeah, the Vibranium coin is going to be released. Where I'll throw up a timeline real quick, but we are currently, let me see if I can throw a timeline up. We're currently building the actual app, the interface. So that's where we're at right now. But the goal is for the beta of the app to be launched this summer. and then the coin will be soon after that. So that's where we're at. I'll share the timeline in a bit, but yeah, and the name really also spoke to how the community it's not just America. And I think, you know, I don't even have to say it explicitly, but like it's clear that what we're talking about is a hip hop community, it's African American community, and it's a community of creatives that have served the system without having any sort of piece of it or ownership or lever of real influence outside of a few people. So Vibranium is also a call to this shared treasure, this gold, this energy that is kept, but also it's present but it's not connected. So the idea is we're trying to connect this value and put it into one home. And yeah, so I mean the idea, the name, it kind of speaks for itself. And I love the fact that when I first told you about it, you were like, oh wow, like
Yeah, yeah. And you said something that really sat with me, this idea of shared treasure. I want to look on the flip side of that and talk about the shared struggle. Um, Here on in the black paper, we say African Americans' median wealth is 10% of whites, and projections show that by 2053, 50% of African American households will have a net worth of zero or less. Also, Africa is the poorest continent with GDP of $1,860 per capita versus $49,000 in North America.
yeah, I mean, you know, it's this is why the time is now, and this is why this current moment is so important, because the system of wealth generation in general has been totally it's the game is decided already. It's set. So you see those numbers, and you know there's no real major change you're going to see inside the system. There's not. It's just not built into it. And what blockchain has is the first time ever that you have a chance to create a parallel system, a the blockchain helps you get out of that main supply chain. So it's a parallel economy. And what like blockchain has that the internet kind of had, but didn't fully really realize until now, was this idea of making separate, decentralized systems that are connected and secure without having to rely on a government or some other kind of system that's going to ensure that this is going to be okay. And they always talk about trustless, but in a way, it allows you to turn your trust into something tangible. That's what an economic system is. It's IOUs going back and forth, and the system's not gonna change. We have to build a separate one, and I think that's those stats. I mean, they're alarming, but in a way, it gives you sort of the freedom to realize, all right, we got to think fully outside of the box. Like we can't, something that we tried before is not going to work. It's got to be something new, because it's staggering. And things like Bitcoin, for example, there's a lot of opportunity there. And I think Bitcoin is going to help some people really change their lives, but it's not going to change the system as a whole, because the people who are bought into Bitcoin are the same people who are bought into the older system. So,
Wow.
that's, yeah, like I think everyone needs to really start realizing, like, any sort of, even these Bored Apes, these major crypto projects
Hmm.
are funded mainly by the same people who funded the previous system, and the owners are the same owners. So we have to start something new, start it from scratch. And the Vibranium network is built to be fully flexible to accept completely new ideas, because that's the thing about blockchain and crypto. We're an ERC-20, and just the interoperability of things. If someone wants to build a a real estate app on top of the smart contracts we already have, that's completely open to them. If they want to build a network just for farmers, that's open to them. So we're not claiming to have the full roadmap, but we want to set that foundation to build something secure and stable. Because I always used to think about this when I was working in music, how you walk around, you see all these office buildings, these tall structures that seem really stable and secure. And what type of stability and security do you feel if you walk by something like that and you feel like that it's like owed to you, you know, like that sort of stability? We haven't really had that because it doesn't, there's nothing we can walk by and be like, that is that structure we built that stands tall and it's going to be there for years. And I think it's going to be in the digital space that we do that. It's going to be in these immutable contracts that we really build something that stands tall, stands the test of time, and can be passed down reliably. So yeah, we're really trying to address some of these stats. I see some pretty good questions. Yeah, so yeah, the staking is the opportunities for staking are going to be in the governance and in the voting. So for the loan and grant system and applications to the network, there will be some mechanisms for you to stake or back other people's applications. We don't have a system built to reward the holders currently, but there are plans for that in the future. Yeah. So the metaverse, that's another good question, Paul. Yeah, I think there's a lot we can do there, but one thing with the VFluent system is it's built very simplistically so that I can live in a bunch of networks, right? So it's a link sharing system. So you generate a unique link that has funds tied to it, and those funds can be distributed to other people who also share that link. So in the metaverse, you could have a room or a home or an event that's tied to a unique link. You can promote it the same way. So that's one way we can live in the metaverse. But I think in general, the art that we've been seeing, I would love to see kind of the Vibranium network visually explored too. So I think that that's something that we will see more in the future. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think the Wakanda vibe is a blueprint. So the thing that we're building here, and I also want to address this, is we don't need these massive numbers immediately to kind of create value. That's where a lot of things go wrong when we sort of want to chase the biggest number, like, oh, we need 1 million users right away. We can have value with 10,000 people on the network, and that's sort of, you know, that's how I see the Wakanda approach working. Because if I have 10,000 people who are, I have 100 of them are amazing artists, 100 of them are amazing, you know, craftspeople, 100 of them actually, you know, could be financial advisors, you know. So once you really break it down, you have a network of people who are all working and creating. Once we have some coders, you know, we have a lot of developers that we know in the network. So it's you get self-sustainability quicker than you would in a normal situation, because there's no outside sort of, you don't have to run on ads. You don't have to have 1 million eyeballs to be profitable. So yeah, I think the Wakanda, the idea of being protected in a way is built into the blockchain concept. So yeah. Good ideas and responses. And this is how I think these conversations are going to go in the future. The idea is to have one of these every 2 weeks. So we'll have different people on, answer more questions, just keep growing. But yeah, I think this is all on the right page. Yep. Yeah. Um, so Mari, would you mind sort of talking about your experience with selling and creating NFTs, just sort of,
Mm-hmm.
because I think this is something that a lot of people are interested in, and, you know, maybe the ways you think it works well now and sort of the ways you think it could be better in the future.
For sure, yeah. So I remember when I sold my first NFT, it was back in May of 21, I want to say, and I was just getting into it. But what I was doing, and I was deep diving into the subject matter, and I was tweeting about it. I was connecting with people within the NFT community, mainly people of color who I saw were making it happen with NFTs. And I think just through my connecting with people and just putting out my contributions and bringing people on board, letting them know about the power of NFTs and power of crypto Web3, um, you know, what happened is it provided me with some type of communal foundation. It provided me with a communal foundation, and so um, I didn't know this, but somebody just kept their eye out for me, and so I had just dropped a song, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna take a piece of this lyric video that I made for this song, and I'm gonna mint it on the blockchain. So I minted it using Zora. Zora.co is a permissionless protocol that allows you to mint an NFT of pretty much every type of every media type: video, photo, MP3. You can even do a PDF. And so I minted a video NFT, and I bought the Ethereum to pay for the gas fees or the transaction fees or whatnot. And I was just kind of like, here goes nothing. And I posted on Twitter, like, hey, I just minted my first NFT, Disconnect, and told like a little story about it. Like, this is a song that I made down in Atlanta when, I was this is pretty much a ratchets to rig. What is it? Rags
Rags.
to riches. Yeah, rags to riches to rags story. It's talking about like my kind of downfall and the like pursuing music or whatever, my financial downfall. So I'm like, yeah, so my phone got cut off when I wrote this song. Just told a little story behind it, which I think all helped the case of it. But like within 3 hours, someone reached out to me in my DM on Twitter, and they were just like, "Yo, Mari, how much do you want for this?" And I was kind of freaked out because I that was my first time selling something. I didn't know how to like value it, and I'm like, I don't know what price to quote. I'm like, I don't want to go too high and scare them off. I don't want to go too low. So what I did is I just and this is a great thing about the blockchain. I went to this person's collection, and I saw the art that they were buying and saw what they were paying for it. So the thing about transparency, seeing how the market is being set for certain types of art. And so I'm like, all right, then I'm just gonna go at this price, and if it goes, it goes. And then I shot the person that price, and they were just like, deal, like let's make it happen. They sent me, they trusted me to, you know, receive the Ethereum from them, and then send my uh, well, the way this one worked actually, because the thing is about being trustless. The way it worked is I um I set the price, the sale price on my NFT, my Disconnect NFT, that was the name of it. And as soon as I set the price, the person was just able to like buy it just like that. And the ownership transferred over to them, but I still had a half a 30% creators equity on it. So what that pretty much means is as I continue to move through this space long term and build out, and maybe say the price just goes up, the stock rises, because there's more energy around my art or whatnot. If that thing goes and sells for, I don't know, let's say 10,000, I would pretty much receive 30% of the sale with my 30% creators equity. But yeah, but the price of that one that I got, I was able to get 0.75 ETH, which at the time was 2,500. And so that was, I'm like, wow, I've never made this much this quickly off of music. And so what did I do with that? I took that 2,500 and kind of invested in some more coin. DeFi was popping off around the same time, and so um, I was I always say like you should only invest what you can afford to lose. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I did is I pretty much put it into an altcoin, and just a little bit, but that altcoin ended up like banking me like another 7,000 or something like that, and I put less than 1,000 in there. And so that one NFT just opened up a lot of doors for me. I'm like, wow, like I can grow money by selling art, you know, or I can just grow money with the money that I get from art, even if it's just like a little. Like this is pretty cool, and then it just opened my mind even more to just these different concepts of wealth and looking at crypto NFTs and everything as an asset class. Like something you brought up is the you know, the interoperability of the blockchain, you know, for Vibranium. Like if someone wants to like do a real estate that they can do that. Real estate is another asset class, just like crypto NFTs, just like stocks. Um, and so I feel like cryptos and NFTs, it was such an amazing gateway for me to think about a parallel economic system, and to think about it in a way that can serve the greater good. You know, if you wrap your head around the concepts of it and its similarities to its similarities to the current financial system, but also the upgrades to the financial system as it stands. I think it could be a really, really powerful thing. I saw it with my own eyes, and it's just got me thinking about that one NFT sales. Got me thinking about things that I wouldn't have been thinking about had I not made that sale.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's two things from that. The one thing that I think everyone needs to start thinking about and realizing is that you could sell art. Like we've had such a long period of time where we felt like you just can't sell everything. Everything's got to be given away for free. But I think what this is doing is showing like there's a community. And once you're in that community, you understand what it means to be invested in the success of something growing. So, you know, I'm sure with your sale, with that first sale, the person probably was familiar with the NFT space. They might have been familiar with, you know, your work, or a greater community of Black creators who are selling NFTs. Like I know there's some great networks out there. There's Black NFT Art is a great one, and yeah, I think once you get a taste of that, you realize like, oh, this, you know, it's like you've been like fighting up against upstream in the other system where you kind of feel like, okay, I'm competing against the radio, I'm competing against, you know, these massive legacy artists, but there are people out there who are willing to spend their money, and you just got to find them. That's sort of why Vibranium, one of the main pillars, is Vfluence, because if you have the promotion, if people are talking about you, you can sell what you make. We've just been conditioned to give it out for free because everything else is free, and when the stuff is free, someone else is making money off of the attention we're bringing to the network. So that is the major perspective shift. So you had that real experience with that. You made like, that's crazy. That would be, I think,
Yeah.
probably like 5 million streams to make that much off one song.
Yeah, that's a fact. Like, oh my God, I get paid like fractions of a penny per stream. And you know, at first you know, streaming was such a when it first came out, it was such a dope thing. It's like, oh man, if I can get this many streams, like, you know, I can get this amount of money. But what's happening is you're picking from a fractionalized pot, and that pot, like more people have to share that as more music goes into the pot. And so it's tough because over the long term, the amount that you make or that's available for you to like claim, the pie slice just gets thinner and thinner. And so with NFT, you don't have to with NFTs, you don't have to play by that same those market rules. Like you're talking about, like the economics of you know, the current system is just not cut out for creators to be able to make a decent living. You know, it's not cut out to, you know, for our labor as you know, Black people globally, whether you're in the Americas, whether you're in Africa, it's not cut out for us to really succeed financially. It's cut out for us to be like built on top of, and like we're done with that. And so
Mm-hmm.
NFTs and what Vibranium is doing allows just something totally like different and parallel from the current financial system. And like now you're starting to see all of these threads connect. Like, wow, like everything is being built at the expense of our labor, at the expense of our creativity. And so, we have to, well, we're in the midst of switching all of that up, turning it on its head and reclaiming some of that power. But something else you said that was really important is like the people who are making it big in Bitcoin, making it big in Ethereum right now. These are people who've taken some of their wealth from the current economic system and have, been able to get ahead in crypto. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have to continue to innovate and be resourceful, which is why it's so important for something like Vibranium to exist. Because if we have the tools to be resourceful and build something that our people can use, and we don't have to rely on people who are already benefiting from the current economic system, then that's already a great step for us to be able to have our own platform, build our own platform, build our own value. We don't have to rely on those archaic realms of value. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the thing to go further with that is, in America, Black people are a minority, right? So you think about all the systems like algorithms and top trending things, and even just money itself, like who's going to get the funding, who has, the proof, the track record. Oh, these are the type of people who start billion-dollar businesses. All those things are reinforced because the numbers aren't there, at least in America. So, you have a system and it looks unfair for so many reasons, but then you put that in the digital and it like stays the same because, if someone has a following that doesn't crack into that mainstream, that's kind of considered a failure. But that's why I kind of going back to the other idea of like we don't have to get to the scale right away. It can be valuable as it grows incrementally because of the way blockchain works. So if I have 10 people and we all come together to promote your next piece, and it goes crazy, and everyone's trying to buy it, there's a bidding war for it, and everyone's trying to buy Vibranium to try to get it, that is a way of getting that sort of that scale impact without needing the numbers. Because once you have a fence, like I heard someone say something once, like if you don't have a fence around where you live, then you feel like then there must be no value there. Like if you can't protect what you have, if you're not trying to protect what you have, then you don't think it's valuable, because clearly then someone will try to take it. So that's, once we can protect what we have, you can just grow baby steps, right? But we haven't had that before. We haven't had something that was guaranteed to be there the next day. People would come outside and see their houses gone, like, so having something that we know is going to be there that you can build on and feel that security, that's the step. And I think that's the missing piece. So yeah, I mean, I think, and then here's the biggest thing, the switch is globally, we're not a minority. We're not as much of a minority globally, but it financially and in America, that's what it is. So it's connecting the two. And I think where that bridge, the international bridge is really in culture and kind of mission and sort of like a shared view of things. And that's another reason why, this is like it's a mission and a message that I think speaking to a lot of people. And, I think we're going to do this for like 15 more minutes, but I want to sort of give an overview of where we're at with the system. So the main smart contracts for each of the pillars, those are all built and ready. We're working on the app, the interface, so the design, and currently building our team. So we're looking for full stack devs, blockchain devs, if anyone in this room or anyone knows anyone who is looking for a job, because we really want to start paying and valuing the people who build this network. And then as we build that, we'll see that beta launch this summer for the Vfluence piece. And then as we go forward, we'll have the full token sale, and then we'll start building off of the Vfluence, vCommerce, and then vCapital. So the full pieces. Timelines are tough. A lot of this depends on hiring and how we build our team. But we've got some great people working for us already. Some great connections. Also, other artists that I know who are international from the continent and from the U.S. too. So it's coming together. There's a lot of work. I know a lot of people on the Telegram, and a lot of people have kind of been wanting to hear more. And it's really, this is the time where we're just building as fast as we can. And but these are going to kind of be happening more frequently. You'll meet more people from the team. More great voices like Mari will be joining. And Mari's going to be working with us. We're working on the idea to have a newsletter that'll kind of feature and showcase different voices, because I think we are a unique group of people who are being drawn to this project, and I think we need to honor that and kind of embrace the energy there. So it's a youth movement. It's something that we want it to feel like that. We want it to feel like everyone can get involved. So if this is your first time sort of hearing about this project, or hearing about us, or you just followed us for the first time, definitely stay tuned. We're trying to do the next one by the end of this month. And yeah, we're just trying to educate and raise all boats, So yeah, I think this is going to be an exciting year for Vibranium. I see like a lot of people have been joining. If anyone wants to put some questions in the chat, like more specifically about more info on the network, I mean, you can go to our website, vibranium.network, to read the black paper and sort of see the rough timeline. We have some art on our page now by some great artists, and we're always looking for people to kind of help bring the vision of Vibranium to life too, because I think there's something there. The interesting thing about Vibranium, the name, is to Black people, it means something different when you say that to them, because there's a lot of people who they know it, they know the Marvel point, but it doesn't mean what it means to us. And I think we want to also sort of empower people to imagine that and visualize that, because it's going to be it's a bigger movement. Yeah, so definitely, Mari, thank you for coming. And I guess one
Bless.
question, I kind of want to hear your thoughts, because you're a great thinker on these things. Right now, for someone who's just getting into crypto, what would you recommend they do? Where would you recommend they read to sort of just get a sense of the whole space? Because I think one thing with Vibranium is there's so much junk out there, and we don't want to look like that junk. And we want to make sure that if you are aware of, if you know the crypto space, you'll know what we're building is unique and has a lot of unique potential that other projects don't have. So I definitely, I want to know your perspective. If this is someone's first project, where should they look to kind of get more information about the space as a whole?
Yeah, most definitely. So I love tech hustle culture. They it's like I don't want to say like a consortium, but take tech hustle culture, 21 titles, Black NFT art. I think you mentioned them. These are great communities to look into. For the educational piece, definitely tech hustle culture, because they even have a dictionary um, for the different blockchain term, all Web3 terminology. They have it, so you can break it down more. Something I personally like to do is I like to make sure my Twitter feed is curated with people who look like me, people who look like us, and so being able to see like just who's posting quality things, who's educating on the space. Some people that come to mind, Call Me Latasha is one. Iman Europe is another one. Very passionate about the blockchain space. El Maya is another one. Um, yeah, there's so many. But what you'll start to see, I'm going to offer you a strategy instead of like just something to read. A strategy is to go on Twitter and find one or two or three creatives in the space who are talking about Web3, talking about crypto, talking about NFTs, see who they're retweeting, and just pretty much start tracking those people. Because what you'll start to find is there is going to be like a loop and a communal loop of information that can help enrich your knowledge on the space. And so I always encourage people to connect. Feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to any folks that you come across, because we're all in this to help each other, and provide ourselves a better way to live and thrive in this world. So yeah, I definitely say check out Tech Hustle Culture for the terminology, Peep 21 titles, also Black NFT art, and connect with some folks on Twitter. Like, you can even go to one of those Twitter pages and just see who they're tweeting, interacting with, and you're gonna go down a rabbit hole of Black creatives.
Awesome. Yeah, that I second all of that. Definitely some great stuff, and definitely follow Mari. He's tagged in the original post. This I think your Mari.world on all platforms, or
on Twitter it's Mari_world_.
Got it. Yeah, so definitely follow him, and we'll post and try to share more stuff. There's a question: how does Vibranium compare to other tokens in the marketplace, meme coins, DeFi, stable coins? So Vibranium is it's an ecosystem. It's a full platform. It's a layer 2. It's built on top of Ethereum. So it's also a token that has a use. So it's it's not a meme coin. It's not meant just for to hold and then sell later. The Vibranium token operates the network. So if you want to use Vibranium to buy sort of a bounty on a link, a project, something you want to promote, and you want to reach our network of Vfluencers, that's what you use the token for. So that is built into the token. That's a smart contract. That's how the token is meant to be used. Then you can also use the token to buy and exchange for goods. So an example of, let's say I want to buy a new headphones. I could buy new headphones from someone who's selling on vCommerce. That person can use the tokens that I bought the headphones with to promote another thing that they're selling, or another pair of headphones, or a video of the headphones, or of whatever their services are. So that's how our network is meant to be, a loop. And the value of the token it really comes from the value of the Vfluencers and the value of that voice. And the Vfluencers are really all of you guys, everyone who's here, everyone who's part of the network, anyone who's influential in their network can be a Vfluencer and make money off of it, or earn Vibranium off of it. And the way we're thinking of the who really fits, the whole concept came from thinking about the most influential person in your friend group. The person who sends you, your whole group, a text message of a video, and you guys are listening to that artist for the next 5 months. I remember one of my friends sent me Daniel Caesar like in 2018 or something, before he had anything out. And I always remember, I'm like, wow, you told me about him when he had like 5 views on SoundCloud. And those are the people who, they might not necessarily be that giant influencer with 1 million followers, but they're influential. So what the Vibranium token operates is an influence system that you can share through text, or any sort of network, anywhere you can share a link. It lets you get a piece of that influence that's happening off of sort of the main streets of social network. But those are the influential people for real. Like, there's tons of people behind the scenes who are behind probably the last 5 things you loved: art, movies, TV shows. You just don't know their names, but they're the ones sending someone that link, or that article, or whatever. So we're trying to let people get into that. And compared to DeFi, stable coins, meme coins, it's totally different because a lot of those don't have uses outside of just trading. So that's how we're different. We wanted to have value from the start, and yeah, definitely setting a different tone. We're having more people join now, which is tough. Mari, I know you got to go, but anything you want to say before you go, and I'll stay on for a little bit longer.
Yeah, thanks so much everyone for sitting down and, chopping it up with us. Like, please, like, feel free to reach out. Because I feel like definitely right now with the state of the world, and something that I hope we'll get to talk about more is just like the supply chain and how the blockchain can disrupt the supply chain, especially within the realm of Vibranium, building parallel economic systems. But yes, with the state of the world, I feel like we're in a very unique time to see the benefits of a system as such, because what the prices on everything is going up. The value of the dollar is just sinking. And it's not a coincidence that it's also happening around the same time where alternative currencies are coming into the picture. And so we have an opportunity to, and this is not to say you have to totally like overhaul and separate from the current economic system, because yeah, people do have responsibilities and whatnot and have to take care of their things. But thinking about it long term, just as we're like building step by step, taking those baby steps, um, you know, having vibranium as an option to redefine value, redefine commerce, redefine community derived value, and how we operate within that on a global scale. From the U.S. To all the North Americas, to Africa, to our folks that are also in Europe or in Asia, Australia. We really mean like globally. Just think about how powerful it'll be to have our combined spending power just collectivizing somewhere and setting value apart from what this current financial system is doing. The economic collapse is upon us, and the time for us to thrive is also coming along with that.
Yep. I mean, well said. Couldn't have put it better myself. Yeah. Wow. But it's the time is now. I mean, it's heavy times, but it's like you said, there's never been a way to collectivize the buying power like this before. And the blockchain gives you the transparency that you lack, because I mean, you look at any sort of campaign to raise money to deal with some issues over here, over there, it is always kind of plagued by that issue of like, well, where's it going? Who's in charge of this? Like, why aren't we deciding how this money is spent? So that's a really good point. Really appreciate it. Yes, and thanks to everyone who came. I think yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to stay around for a little bit longer, I can answer a few more questions. I might pull up my dad on stage actually, but yeah, this has been great, Mari. Thanks to everyone who came. Big big things coming. So and
Bless.
definitely follow Vibranium Gold if you're not already following. And I think a big thing I want to start doing is like, let's follow each other. Let's kind of build the network internally. But everyone in the chat, if you want to throw your in any platforms, I think it's really good to kind of to meet people that way.
Yep. Hey, many blessings, y'all. Thanks a lot for having me, RJ. Thanks a lot, Vibranium. Let's do this.
All right.
All right, y'all. Much love. Peace.
All right. Yeah, that was great. I want to definitely shout out to everyone who's here. I see one question: who named the coin Vibranium? Yeah, that came from my dad actually. Let's see. I'm gonna try to see if I can pull someone up on stage. Thank you. I'm glad you found it informative. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Any final questions? This is going to be recorded and saved and uploaded. But thank you for joining. We're going to do this again in 2 weeks. And yeah, we'll just keep it going. We'll have someone else come up and be the main speaker, but hopefully just eventually getting more people to come in and join. So yeah, thank you everyone. This is going to be saved on our Instagram and also our YouTube.